Kylie.
I'm Payton, and this is Fires of Change.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome. Today is Thursday, April 24th, 2025. And on this episode of our show, we are going to be talking about, reading stories from the malicious compliance subreddit. Because there's always some very interesting tales in there. But before we get into that, I'm going to throw it over to Payton, and she's going to get us all caught up with current events.
Thank you, Kylie. So, as we all know, Trump's been trying to make it basically harder for people to vote, to basically rig elections even more. So some good news today. I got this off at apnews.com. A judge halts parts of Trump's overhaul of U.S. elections, including proof of citizenship requirement. So in New York, a judge today blocked the Trump administration from immediately enacting certain changes to how federal elections are run, including adding a proof of citizenship requirement to the federal voter registration form. This decision is a setback for Trump, so yay. Someone's on our side. Basically saying it's like not constitutional to do that. Like, obviously people that are voting are, U.S. citizens or have the proper documentation and things like that. And so, yeah, that's just kind of some good news. The Trump's March executive order overhaul how U.S. elections are run prompted swift lawsuits from the League of United Latin American Citizens, the League of Women Voters Education Fund, and the Democratic National Committee and others who called it unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Colleen Kohler-Cotelli in Washington sided with the voting rights and groups and Democrats, saying the Constitution gives the power to regulate federal elections to states and Congress, not the president. She noted federal lawmakers are currently working on their own legislation to require proof of citizenship to vote. And in a 120-page decision on Thursday, she said the plaintiff had proven that the proof of citizenship requirement would cause their clients irreparable harm and go against public interest, while the government had offered almost no defense in the president's order on the merits. So, I don't know. At least we have a couple of the judges that are starting to use the power that they have. So, yeah.
Yeah, which is definitely good to see because shit's been crazy. It's not getting crazy. It's been crazy. But yeah, hopefully more people will in places of power or positions of power will start using it to go against this administration.
Yeah.
Speaking of going against the administration, with our first story from malicious compliance, we didn't like find these stories ahead of time because we like to read it for the first time with you guys. So let's see. This one says the title is "You're Not Paid to Think." Okay, so I didn't. That's a crazy thing to say to somebody. But a few years ago, I worked as a copywriter at a small PR agency run by a tyrant of a boss. Let's call her Marcy. She was all about control. One day during a strategy meeting, I pointed out a huge flaw in a campaign that could have cost our client major money. Her response, "You're not paid to think. You're paid to write what I tell you."
Wow.
Ooh, got it. From that point on, I followed her instructions exactly. No suggestions, no edits, no heads up when things were obviously going sideways. Just pure, flawless compliance. Within 2 months, 2 major clients left over tone-deaf campaigns, ones I had tried to fix but was explicitly told not to. Guess who got blamed? Me. Guess who kept receipts? Also me. I forwarded my "just doing what you told me" email chain to HR. Turns out this wasn't the first complaint. She was restructured out of the company 3 weeks later.
Hmm.
That's it. That's all.
See, it's like, well, if you don't want me to help, then I won't help, and then it's gonna look bad, and it's gonna fuck over other people. Like I'm trying to do my job.
Yeah, I think it's very important that people who are trying to think of the people who are over somebody, for lack of a better word. I was trying to think of the word that is not subordinate, but I can't think of it. When you have people who are your subordinates, like you have to be like balanced, you have to be able to put your foot down and tell people to do what they need to do. But then at the same time, like you need to be compassionate and not let it get to your head. Because
Yeah. Well, and it's like, okay, just because you're like someone's your superior doesn't mean that you can't have good, ideas and stuff too. Like that's why that whole thing makes no sense to me, because it's like you want more brains working on it. You want more suggestions. You want more help. Like, I don't know. That lady clearly had an ego.
yes. And look where it took her, restructured out of the company. But yeah, I think it's important. Like I always like to, that's the good thing about working in a group is, like you said, having that collaboration and having, something that I might see, you might not see, and vice versa. But it's important to have different perspectives so that different facets can be of whatever that's being worked on can be addressed.
Yeah. Okay, that was a good one.
That one was really short. I wanted a longer one.
It got the ball rolling.
It did. Okay. Medium. A few years ago, I was hired as a manager to create the contracts department of a tech startup. My boss was on an opposite coast as me, and we barely spoke. About a year into the company, hired consultants. What? About a year in, they didn't put a comma. Anyways, about a year in, the company had hired consultants to overhaul departments except for contracts because it was running so smoothly. I was truly proud of this. The company sent me on a paid trip to the Bahamas as a thank you. Ooh. What company is this? After I got back from vacation, I asked for a raise to director level. My boss said I just wasn't there. I asked for a list of what I would need to do to be director. He sent me a list, which was everything I was already doing, and basically admitted that if I was director, he would no longer be able to take credit for my work. Oh. Friends told me I needed to either leave or put up and shut up. Instead, I chose to kill with kindness. I wholeheartedly apologized to my manager for overstepping and said that I'm going to step back into the manager role. I printed out the manager responsibilities and posted them to my desk. Things went south quicker than I could have ever imagined. We started missing sales targets. Product said my boss agreed to a term in an agreement that would completely destroy their budget and product rollout. My boss didn't know commission agreements and let sales manipulate contracts, so we were paying commission on contracts with termination clauses. Whatever that fucking means.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like, I kind of blacked out at that part. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh. I only interjected once to stop a contract amendment from being approved because my boss was unknowingly let a vice president artificially inflate sales numbers. The controller and CFO had to get involved. Eventually, the CEO was called in.
Ooh.
Stories started circulating about my boss holding stress balls and cursing in meetings. I was more relaxed than ever, and during my newfound free time at work, I studied for and obtained professional certifications. Okay. I like that. Yes. They're, adding stuff to their resume on the clock. I really love that. I would also leave work early to go to get to the gym before it got busy.
Love.
Yeah. About a month after I unloaded my added responsibilities, my boss gave me a 7% bonus. It was unspoken, but I could tell he wanted me to take back on the director responsibilities without the title. But I continued to follow the manager description to a T. 6 months later, after taking 10 days of my unlimited PTO, I was included in layoffs. Took 3 months off and then got another job at a 35% salary increase.
Love that.
Exactly. While I'm happy to be making more money, I truly loved the company and the people I worked with, and it's defeating to watch someone continually take credit for your work. Wow.
Wow.
I think one thing I really like is that people are like, I feel like it used to be like you would just have to do that, you know, like if somebody was over you and they were taking credit for your stuff, like you just had to take it. But I feel like now people are just not with it anymore, and they're totally against their workplace taking advantage of them, and you know, as they should be. And I think we have more agency now to like push back against things like that. I'm definitely an advocate for don't like work smarter, not harder. You know, don't overwork yourself for these companies or these
Yeah, because the
corporations or
next day,
whatever.
like if you were to pass away or something happened to you, they would replace you in a second. Like you're just a number to them. Like they don't care.
Yeah.
And back then, like companies used to have a lot more benefits for their employees, like bonuses every year and wage increases. And yeah, like at a certain point in America, like there was a lot of benefits. Granted, it was more for men and in the fields and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very interesting. And now it's like, okay, what do we have to lose? I'll go to like they just went to another company, got a raise, got to take some time off, and it was paid. And so it just goes to show when you do the right thing and it's not being rewarded, well, put your energy back in yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad that they decided that they were going to stop like going above and beyond and doing things outside of their job description. Because I'm not doing, if you're paying me for a specific position, I'm going to do the things that specific position entails. I'm not going to do anything other than that, because why would I?
Yeah.
So, yeah, good for them.
Yeah. I just love when people get good karma at the end, when it's like clearly they're trying to do the right thing and work hard for the company, but it wasn't being recognized through them. They're getting stolen basically from. And then, okay, well, it still worked out for them better, more money, less work. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. So kudos to them for making that transition. Okay. And I feel like these stories are all like, or a lot of them are coming from like sales, because this one is sales too.
Okay.
And when I worked in sales, I'm not a salesperson, so
see, I'm not either.
They do the
I
most.
can't. Yeah. Like when even trying to sell shampoo, I'm like at the end of my appointments, I'm like, do you need product? If they're like, no, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, like hey,
you don't need anything, you're good.
If you want it, you want it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you. So the title of this next one is These Are the New Metrics. Okay, everyone is fired. So I work at a large company, Fortune 50 company, but like everywhere, management comes up with one-size-fits-none metrics. The latest was revealed to us by our manager, who surprisingly is the hero of this story. It has always been the metric that if you fell below 70% of your quota on a quota-eligible role, you risk being put on a performance review plan. It is also well known that anyone getting on a PRP is pretty much toast. Either you get fired for failing the PRP, or you are first on the next layoff list. And usually they replace you with a newbie fresh out of college in one of the lower two bands. My particular team is made up of all senior people. Every one of us is in one of the top 2 skill grades. So we know we are a target, which is insane, as all of us engage in the C-suite at other very large Fortune 500 companies and act as trusted advisors. We cannot be replaced by a new grad with intern-level performance. So our intrepid hero, my boss, is pulled into a 2-day seminar about 2 months ago that goes all the way to the general manager of sales, Americas. Several senior HR managers are there too. It is a rare in-person meeting, so people are cautious, but at least they know it is not a mass layoff kind of deal, as the first day is about the path forward and how important our division is to the company strategy. They go on about how our division is the front line of expanding sales in our partner program to take it from 60% of revenue to 85% of revenue, with 75% of new growth expected to come from the partner channels. The company absolute is relying on our division and our skilled staff to deliver on that goal. The second day is different, however. In the afternoon, they lay out a new plan for technical sellers, 80% attainment per year and backdating 2 years. Okay. It is a rare in-person meeting, so people are cautious. Oh, what?
I know. They got so technical in the way they're describing it that I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I'm like, all this sales marketing talk, like, please. But then they also, I think they like put a typo in. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. My manager goes into I'm just asking questions mode. So let me understand. If last year they hit 100% attainment and 75% of the team did, but the previous year they hit 79%, then they are on a PRP? HR hems and haws. Well, yes, this is how it would work. I see. And there's no exceptions? The GM speaks up. That's correct. Everyone must be a top performer. No exceptions. My manager starts gathering his things up. Would you mind if I skip the rest of the day? I have a lot of work to do, apparently. The GM looks at him. Well, no, we have more to cover. What's so urgent? He looks at the GM and maliciously complies with the stated metrics. Based on the metrics and the no exceptions rule, I have to prepare PRPs for my entire team. No exceptions. I will need to start the open headcount to hire replacements for everyone, too. The GM looks confused, attempting to digest this new information. Most of the rest of the managers stick their hands up. We need to go, too. We need to write up PRPs for all our people, too, and submit open headcounts. A quick count shows that 80% of our division would be on a PRP. Given the failure rate, that means about 70% of the team would be fired, 10% would be laid off, and 20% will remain. For the growth strategy of the company, the tip of the spear in partner sales, my boss points out that retention of personnel and reduced turnover is part of the roll-up objectives as well as attainment of his reports. That means he will be PRP'd as well as his manager and her manager all the way up the chain, no exceptions. The meeting was wrapped up after the discussion dies down, and the GM says they are not implementing this now, but in a few months. In those 2 months, there are more online meetings, questions asked, more data pulled from the HR systems, meeting with HR and legal, who is now very interested in this plan of theirs, culminating in a meeting this last Monday where the revised plan is revealed. A new exceptions plan has been put in place at the insistence of the legal department. Gone is the informal put together package to be evaluated for an optional exception for your employee. Now there is a set of formal exceptions that cover a number of categories. Legal ones like taking family leave or medical short-term disability in the last 3, and functional ones like having been moved between departments or job titles or having a non-quota designation in the last 2 years. If the quota plan changed significantly or had a metric with no previous history to set the target. Okay, this formatting is interesting. There are 10 or 12 categories depending on if you count the overlaps. An exception resets the timer to the next calendar year. So if someone qualifies in January, they are off the hook until next January. It turns out everyone in the division now qualifies for one or more of these exceptions. Imagine that. Epilogue. Turns out HR did not do an analysis of how many people would be impacted in our division, as the numbers were done worldwide over 100,000 employees with quota, not by department. Their number said 11% of us would end up on PRPs. Let's not get into how they are trying to reduce headcount by driving people into leaving or retiring early. Also, when legal found out they were backdating the requirement, they went ballistic. Legal also went spare when they saw no exceptions for federally protective leave like family or medical disability. Gotta love my boss. He looks out for us, often by maliciously complying with stupid requirements.
I don't understand why companies don't understand that if you want your employees to work harder, better for you, like have more incentives, like positive reinforcements are so much better than negative reinforcements. And like if they're going to put everyone, what are they, PRPs or something, everyone's going to basically be on that and be fucked. Like so stupid.
Yeah. Corporate America is just like it's just so, I don't even know how to describe it. Like so many like stupid rules and like performance. And it's funny because today I had a meeting for my job, and they were talking about like changes that were going to be made to our particular department, or I guess, changes, like things that they're trying to get put in place. And so every time like we're working, like they have this we have this system that like tracks like what we're doing to make sure that like we're being productive during the day. So when you're in a meeting, like there are issues with it, because I guess like when you're in a meeting and like you're not clicking around on the computer, like it might mark you as idle, and so like we have to have a certain percentage of time that we're being active. And if you're like consistently under that amount, then you might get on. It's not basically the same thing. Like you have a
Okay.
PRP. Although for us, I don't think like, if you get on it, that means you're fired. Like it just means that you're on a,
Like a watch.
yeah, basically. So a lot of people were saying like, and then so somebody had brought it up. They were like, oh, I'm clicking around in this meeting to make sure that like my DPA, because that's what it's called, the DPA,
Okay.
like the daily productivity. I don't know what the A stands for, but daily productivity assessment. I don't know. Um, so they're like, if I'm not like clicking around in the meeting, then like my DPA will be fucked basically. And then one of the people was like, he was kind of sassy with it. I was like, oh, this is, He was like, well, basically, he was like, you shouldn't be clicking around during the meeting. Like, you should be paying, like, that makes me a little bit sad. Like, you should be paying attention to us and what we have going on, right? Like, you should be present. I was like, oh, okay. And then everybody in the chat was like, well, yeah, but if we don't click around, like,
Then we're gonna get in trouble. So.
yeah, like our shit is gonna be fucked up. So it's like you're saying that it shouldn't be like this, but we're telling you that it is like this. So like, what is it that you're gonna do to change that?
Right.
So yeah, it's just interesting to see.
It's like, who comes up with these procedures? Like, they just clearly don't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, because it's like, because we have the like little phone system that we use is called 5-9, and so in there you have little statuses to put. Like if you're on lunch, you put your status on lunch. If you're on a break, like there's a status for like lots of different things. So when you're in a meeting, then you put yourself in meeting status. So you would think that the thing will show that it's on a meeting. So there's you don't have to click around because you're in a meeting. But I guess it's still messing up for some people. So yeah, it's very important to have a workplace that like will allow you to, well, I guess first of all, hold space for people to like bring up any questions or grievances, and then like actually do things about it too. So sounds like, I mean, at least sounds like with this person's workplace, they they made the changes that they needed to. But yeah, that first plan was not.
But again, it just goes to show like these people at the top of the food chain, quote unquote, like they really don't know what's going on within their own companies and their own systems. Like we see it in so many things, like even the government, the amount of shit that Trump has done with like tariffs and all that bullshit and the trickle down effect it has on the economy and like the butterfly effect. And essentially it's like, okay, I just saw something about like Walmart CEO, like the dude that owns like all Walmart, has been like talking to Trump, like, dude, our shelves are going to be empty. It's like, what the fuck did you guys think was going to happen if you're doing things that have been proven to fuck up shit? And then they're just like, I can't read, I can't see, I can't hear you, I can't understand what you're saying. It's like, there's proven documentation that it doesn't work.
Yeah, even with this whole like student loan thing, like,
oh my God, I forgot about that. Yep.
It's, I guess on May 5th, like, if you haven't been paying your loans, they're gonna be put in collections. So, because like ever since 2020, there's been like a federal, what was it called? Like there was a grace period that the government put on the loans and stuff like that, and now that's gonna end. So
it's gonna fuck up the economy even more.
Yeah, like, yeah, I just like none of these people. I just don't know. All these people are not equipped for the job.
No, they don't know what the fuck they're doing at all. The fact that like what we talked about it on the last season, like, was it 23 Nobel Prize winning like economists talked about how Trump shit would just absolutely annihilate the economy, and then it's just like, here we fucking are. Like the stock market is absolutely fucked. Like I know people that have lost like $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. I even had someone lose $600,000 in the stock market.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's so beyond fucked. And like, yeah, again, gonna ruin the economy even more. But then I also think it's kind of like they're fabricating it so all these like rich people can buy up this shit and then they'll somehow flip it so the rich get even more rich. Because it keeps happening.
Yeah. I have no idea. It's I don't know. I'm thinking about I feel like my best bet is just to like enroll into like a community college and like just take a couple classes.
Yeah.
And like defer because I'm not paying that back.
Yeah. No. And it's like, what do they need our fucking money for? They're like using it to fund a genocide. They're using it to fucking fuck over the American people, to basically create another for-profit prison system now with other countries. It's like, you guys don't need any more fucking money. Like, you have enough. You're ruining people's lives enough.
Yeah, and it's like you're not even gonna use the money for like anything good. Like if I
Yeah.
knew like the money was going to like, repairing the roads and like repairing like infrastructure, because like
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot about like all of these bridges and like just roads in general, and a lot of this stuff was like the national parks and shit. Like a lot of this stuff was constructed under a long time ago. I'm trying to remember if it was, I want to say Yar had
Oh, like he did a lot of public service things.
like there was one of the presidents had the what is it? Yeah, so FDR. Okay. I remember a little bit. So FDR, he had the New Deal, right? Which a part of it was he created the Civilian Conservation Corps. So during the Great Depression, there was a lot of unemployment, and FDR was trying to find ways to employ different members of the American public. And so the CCC recruited young single guys from the ages of 18 to 25. They gave them work, they gave them a place to stay, they gave them, food to eat. And so a lot of these things that they were making, they were planting trees, they were building roads, they were building
Wow.
bridges, helping develop some of the national parks, excuse me, fighting forest fires, things along those lines. So this deal came about in 1933.
Wow.
So a lot of these,
Oh my God. Actually, you know what's so scary about that? 1933 is when Hitler got elected chancellor.
mm,
So that's like really weird, actually.
yeah,
That in some parts of the world, which we can compare it to now, like we elected our own Hitler with fucking stupid ass Donald Trump. And other countries like China actually invest in their infrastructure and have really good infrastructure, and it helps the entire population. And it's like, wow, look at the two worlds that we're now 1933 Germany. Cool.
yeah. That's a good parallel because there was they're about to open like the world's highest bridge or something. It's called like I do not know the exact name of it, but it's something Canyon Bridge. I was on. I don't know what it is about. Like I don't know. There's so many things you can watch on TikTok. So
Mm-hmm.
I there's so many different rabbit holes that I go down, and there was one about bridges. Like I don't know. I have a fear of bridges.
I feel
They're
that.
very scary to me, especially
Mm-hmm.
bridges over water.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, this person had brought up this bridge that is about to be opened in China. So yes, here it is. Okay, CNN. So called the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge. It is almost done being constructed in Jizhuao, Southwest China. And it's going to be 2,051 feet above river level.
Oh, scary.
Very scary. But apparently now, like right now, before the bridge is done, like the commute is like 70 minutes or something. And so once the bridge is done, it's going to take it from 70 minutes to get across that to just under 1 minute.
What? Wow. Holy shit.
Really cool. So yeah, like just seeing like how like they're light years ahead of us, like just in so many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just the fact that a lot of these bridges are, because like I think about moving like to the East Coast a lot, but I just really don't like the idea of bridges, and like depending on where you're at, like it might be unavoidable to get on some of these bridges. And so the longest bridge in the world, I believe, is the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, which is in Louisiana.
Okay.
And that shit looks crazy. Like I would never want to drive on it, especially being that like I don't even know when it was built, like a long time ago. And so a lot of these, like we know that what was that bridge that collapsed? Was it 2 years ago already? Maybe it was last year.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel like there's been like a couple bridge collapsings, like kind of scary. Like that should be something that's maintained.
Yeah, like absolutely not. Like that's actually fucking crazy. But I know like the Francis Scott Key Bridge, in DC, Virginia, I don't know, somewhere over there. I know that was caused, I think that was in Maryland. Yeah, I think that was caused by like a collision. Yeah, okay. That was caused by a boat like running into one of the pillars. But still, like a lot of these buildings, infrastructure, whatever, are very, very old. And so there's no, like, you could be putting money into that. You could be putting money into education. You could be putting money into making housing more affordable so that
public
we
health.
don't have, public health. But money's being taken away from all of those things. So it's just very, they literally want us to die, like for real.
No, literally. And it's so frustrating the amount of times I see other countries. And even just when I go to fucking Europe, like the train systems there, you can get fucking anywhere basically on a train. And like, they're actually pretty nice trains. Are they the most like high end thing ever? No, but like they're always clean. They were pretty comfy, easy to catch. And it's just like, that's really cool to see governments actually invest into their citizens and actually do things to help their citizens. Cause it's like, again, the citizens are paying for the fucking government. They're paying for this entity. Like the entity should, have our best interest at heart and seeing all this shit. And like stupid ass RFK with his trying to get a registry for people with autism is like fucking like loony bin crazy. What the fuck do you mean? Like that's literally like, if we're going to document people's disabilities like that, like that's literally eugenics. They're going to be some of the first people shipped off. Like that's exactly what happened. Again, we talked about it with the Holocaust. The first group that was affected were people with disabilities. And then it trickled up. And it's like people think it's like when you lose rights for even one person, it's going to affect literally everyone.
Yeah. And I sent you that TikTok where they were talking about one of the I don't know who she would be to him. His aunt? I don't know.
What's her name?
Rose
yes.
Kennedy? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the video that I'm referring to is talking about one of the members of the Kennedy family, Rose Kennedy. She was the sister to JFK.
Yeah.
And She was a sister of JFK, and she had.
Okay,
She didn't even.
people actually are speculating she was just autistic. Actually,
Yeah. So she had some type of developmental things going on, and they.
and she was like, I guess, outspoken and very whatever, like a lot of us are,
Yeah, and she was, she was doing her. She had things that she enjoyed doing. She had people that she loved, friends, and things like that. And so basically, it was once they heard that she was like having relationships with men, they were like, oh no, we can't have that. So they had her lobotomized, and then after that, I believe things got worse. So
They institutionalized her
yeah, they institutionalized her for like
the rest of her
decades.
life.
Yeah.
Well, and then they didn't even go and visit her either. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you medically like fuck up her brain with a lobotomy, and then you're never gonna fucking see her again. You're just gonna, okay, bye. Like, that's so fucked up. And that's, eugenics. Like,
Yeah. And so maybe that's the reason why that family is cursed, because why would they do her like that? Like, that was
well, and I
very
guess
crazy.
the sister of her too was like very, because that happened to her, she was very involved with the disability community and helped and stuff. And she's passed away now, and people are saying like she'd be rolling over in her grave if she saw what RFK was doing. And it's just like, yeah, this dude's so stupid. Like, I mean, he even said that Black people need a different vaccine schedule than white people. Like, again, this is going back to this racist rhetoric in medicine that we've seen for hundreds of years. And then now it's like, okay, now we're dipping in our toe into eugenics. And it's just like, again, this is very scary. People need to be aware of what's going on. Like, again, 17 states are trying to overturn the 504. Like, this is what happens. And they're slowly going to be turning back into these, like, quote unquote, ugly laws where, like, people with disabilities aren't going to be allowed out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a slippery slope that we're on, because yeah, I mean, to have we
Our rigged election.
I was gonna say an elected official, but that's actually really crazy. To have a member of the government, say stuff like that, bring up, like you said, race science, and about, like, as if it's legitimate. Like, that's literally the reason why the Black maternity mortality rate is so high, is because people don't believe Black women, Black people in general, but of course we're talking about maternity, so we're talking about Black women. They don't believe Black women when we say like, oh, I'm in pain, like I need some type of medicine, like I need something. Like, even Serena Williams, somebody who's very influential, somebody who's very powerful, somebody who is known, she almost died giving birth to her baby because they didn't believe her when she said that she needed, that she was not okay. So it's just like, if that could happen to Serena Williams, like,
yeah, it can happen to any woman.
What the fuck? Yeah. What are they going to do to me?
Yeah.
So scary times that we're in.
Yeah. That's why we just got to keep talking about it, educating ourselves, as annoying and hard as it is. Yeah. And honestly, like, maybe I think as citizens maybe need to do a little bit more malicious compliance as well, like, I don't know. We need to do more. Like, we just need to be annoying about literally everything and just not stop.
Yeah. Because, I mean, definitely something has to be done, because we're just like the TikTok that you sent me where Grace was talking about how, we're the only things that's left, we have to do something. Like, if we just sit here and, allow them to keep doing it, it's like shit's gonna be unrecognizable. So it's scary to think about, but it's, what we're faced with at this point in time.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to be, unfortunately, because,
Maybe we're in a tower moment, like with tarot. I think that's what's going on. And then we got to rebuild.
Yeah. You know, you gotta break shit down to rebuild it into something that is better. You know, I'm sure people during various points in history where a lot of things were changing were feeling like, what the fuck is going to be next? And feeling unsure and uncertain and scared. But yes, there is probably going to be a point, a period of, you know, strife or
civil
unrest or something, like, you know, but there's got to be something better on the other side.
Yeah. And honestly, like my therapist talked about, it's like when you're built on something so horrendous and shitty. And I mean, our whole country was founded on, you know, the death of so many Native American people, stealing their land, slavery, supporting the Holocaust, supporting freaking, we had our own Holocaust here with the having Japanese people in internment camps, and, you know, just the amount of horrendous shit that our government has done to its people and the people that like were here first. It's like how you can't really like easily change that system. You literally have to burn it to the ground and rebuild it into something better, because there's no changing that. That's an evil ass entity. That's an evil, horrendous, cruel, bad energy.
Yeah, agreed. You have to drive that bad energy out before bringing in new energy.
Like, isn't it? Was it Martin Luther King that was like, darkness can't drive out darkness, only light can do that? I think that's what it was. Something like that.
I've heard that quote, but I don't know who
said that.
Yeah.
Someone said that.
Should we throw it over to you, Sam?
Sam's fun facts.
Loading.
Oh, he was looking up the quote. Okay. It is Martin Luther King. Okay.
All right. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Tuning into Sam's Fun Facts. That quote was from Martin Luther King. I was not recording on my end. I'll put that in there. I actually asked ChatGPT for this one. I was like, hey, Chat, can you give me a short story for malicious compliance? And it said, yes, this is a real story. I don't know exactly where it's sourced from, but I'm sure that I can ask it. It's titled, I think it's from Reddit too, because it kind of looked like what Reddit's subreddits look like, but it's called the Dress Code Rebellion. As certain office management instituted a strict dress code, and men had to wear suits and ties at all times. This rubbed some employees the wrong way, especially during a scorching summer with no air conditioning. One guy decided to comply maliciously. Instead of rebelling or complaining, he wore a full three-piece wool suit every day, no matter how hot it got. He followed the dress code to the letter, but started fainting from heat exhaustion. When HR finally asked what was going on, he said, "I'm just following the rules." His quiet protest got attention after a few more employees followed his lead. He sweated buckets. Management changed the policy and allowed more reasonable summer attire. And that has been Sam's Fun Facts and full story.
Wow. Heat exhaustion is no joke. So, like, continuously doing that, like, multiple times, that's dedication. That's dedication. I like that. That's my kind of petty. But thank you for sharing that, Sam. That was I like that. 10 out of 10.
That was a good one.
And with that being said, I'm Kylie.
I'm Payton.
And this has been Fires of Change.